Hello and welcome to At Brookings. I'm Gigi Hinton. In our first feature today, we'll hear from Hamid Karzai, President of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, as he details his vision for his country's future. Then, a panel of Brookings experts talks about nuclear arms control and how Russia and the United States can approach this issue. Then we'll hear from the man on the street as he talks about who should be the next Supreme Court justice. We'll have all that coming up next on At Brookings.
This is At Brookings, a review of news and events the week of May 4th, 2009.
Afghanistan remains one of the most impoverished countries in the world. As the Afghan people continue to implement programs and systems to raise the standard of living, His Excellency Hamid Karzai, President of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, spoke at Brookings and shared his insights for his nation's future.
Iran has been a contributor to the stability and peace and reconstruction of Afghanistan. Iran has been listening to Afghanistan as well with regard to relations with Iran and to relations in the region. And Iran has been naturally fearful as well of the consequences of the Western American stay in Afghanistan for them. Now, in this context, we have been very frank and blunt, I may say, with both America and Iran. We have told the Americans that Afghanistan should not be a place for rivalry between America and Iran. And we have said exactly the same thing to the Iranians, that Afghanistan should be kept away from their differences that they have. Rather, we have tried our best to work between the two countries to befriend them. We've had occasions of this having been seen as in good light. We've had occasions of this having been seen not so successful. But our effort is to continue to provide advice to both countries on improving relations. We find that very much in the interest of Afghanistan. We find that very much in the interest of Iran. We find that very much in the interest of America.
As President Obama considers who to appoint to the Supreme Court, I hope he thinks less about the demographics of a person. I don't care if they're, straight, gay, black, white, male, female, whatever.
I think for Obama's first decision, I would imagine he wouldn't want to be too controversial and make too big of a decision that's going to be disruptive, so that he can have more leverage maybe as he comes down the road, possibly.
I just hope that they have sound, logical policy positions that'll work to the benefit of the United States, and I personally hope that they coincide with his agenda, his progressive agenda.
I think he should keep the balance of where Judge Souter was.
And that's what I think.
Nuclear arms control is the cornerstone of the U.S.-Russia agenda. A panel of experts at Brookings examined the challenges these two world powers face as they work towards a new arms control agreement.
When you're in a world with more than one nuclear armed state, and those states include antagonists, you already are no longer in a Clausewitzian world, which is to say you have a weapon or a form of weaponry that is so destructive that its use in war is not, by any reasonable definition, an extension of policy or politics by another means. Which means that these weapons are really only good for two things. One is intimidation in a political sense, but with a big stick, and the other is in deterrence.
Part of the solution on Iran has to be Russia. And why Russia? Well, Russia because it can offer two things. It can partner with the international community, and particularly with the United States, of making the offer to Iran, which has already been put on the table, of providing enriched fuel and doing it in a way that is under international supervision, that provides for guaranteed supplies, so that if Iran is serious in saying that what it wants is a civilian nuclear power program for the purposes of generating energy, it can show that there is a mechanism of having guaranteed supplies of fuel. And secondly, that there is a mechanism to take that fuel and reprocess it offshore. And why is that critically important? The reason it's critically important is look at North Korea and Yongbyon. The way that North Korea got the material, to the plutonium that was necessary to produce its nuclear weapons, was from its nuclear reactor program and the reprocessing of spent fuel. That becomes critically necessary to take away. So Russia is a key part of that equation. It's one of the few countries, if not the only country in the world, that actually can put that on the table.
It's important, I believe, for the United States and Russia to preserve a START framework so that we have something that continues after December 5, because that framework provides predictability, it provides transparency, it provides verification measures. If we lose that, we're going to be less smart about Russian strategic forces and vice versa.
At Brookings is produced by the Brookings Institution. To learn more about the issues discussed on At Brookings, visit our website at brookings.edu.